Hello, I'm Sana Khan, and you're watching MediCircle. Today we have with us Mr. Ashok Kunapareddy. He is a CEO at the Lean Healthcare Initiatives. Please welcome him to our show, Rendezvous on Patient Safety Series. Hi, Mr. Ashok, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, to begin with, patient safety is a global health priority, hence proved
Yeah,
by COVID. What are your thoughts on the same?
yeah, it's really a serious problem. This patient safety. If you see the figures, they're really alarming in the sense that we have about 5 million deaths per annum, as per a study done in 1980. 2008,
Mhm.
which are preventable. About 70 to 80% are preventable. So these medical errors consist of various things, like we have misdiagnosis and then delayed diagnosis, medication errors, errors due to equipment used, so on and so forth, and pure medical errors also there, apart from medication errors. So they're quite plain. About 8 to 8.2% of the errors are purely medication errors, which is very high. So those medication errors happen because of this look-alike, sound-alike drugs, illegible writing of the doctors or whatever, and then verbal communications. All these things play a vital role in making these mistakes in medication. So far as the medication, and we also have certain, of course, one other major thing is the hospital-acquired infections. Through central line infections, and then
Mhm.
infections due to bad hand hygiene, and so on and so forth, and surface infection in the hospitals, infections from patient to the doctors and nurses and other healthcare staff and all that.
Right.
And we have, of course, list is endless. Like we have wrong side surgeries. There are also considered medical errors, wrong side surgeries, mistaken identities,
Right.
foreign body. All these are medical errors. So people are working on this, like this quality control departments in any healthcare organizations do work on these things. But from lean healthcare initiatives, what we do is we apply lean healthcare concepts to these things.
Right.
So we believe, it's a fact that most of these errors are not human oriented. They are process related
Process.
or the systemic. They are
Right.
basically systemic and process oriented. See, the people are always good, but the processes are broken and the systems are not in place. So this is what we look at it. So this blame culture also prevents, makes more errors, because it prevents the healthcare personnel to report incidences, and through
Mhm.
which we learn. So after all, how do we learn to control the medical errors and then improve the patient safety? Is by only by learning.
By
So this
learning.
learning is prevented through this blame culture. So
Mhm.
that's what we try to prevent. In our training programs, and then whenever we do any activities, this is the first thing we teach them. This is a this is a double-edged sword. Like it prevents uh, the people to report the incidences, and secondly, it prevents the management to look at the problem critically from the process point of view. They keep blaming the person and then forget about it. And thirdly, of course, it creates a great stress on the personnel,
Personal.
because unnecessarily, because if it's a systemic problem or if it's a process problem, there's no point in blaming the person unless the management corrects the system or the process, right?
Right.
So these are the things, various aspects. So from the lean healthcare, from our organization, we take up all these things from the process point of view. We do a lot of work through 5S to prevent this LASA, they call it, look alike, sound alike, drugs mistakes, and then providing required drugs on time, like PPE or whatever, on time without fail, through this 5S concept of lean healthcare. And then we have things like Kaizen. Kaizen is something what helps in improving the patient safety through taking up quality improvement projects, of any area, in any area, whether it is inpatient or outpatient. They have so many problems, like sometimes the patient is not safe through the equipment they use. Like
Mhm.
they have a dialysis, for example. If you take dialysis
Right.
machine itself, may have an infective things like the containers or the site of the place where they do the insertion for the dialysis. or the dialysis machine itself. All these things needs to be looked into, and then find out where the infection is coming from to the patient, and then sorted out. All these things are done through lean healthcare in a systematic way from the point of view of the process and the
Right.
system.
We
Yes.
need to do corrections in the process itself.
Yes, do the corrections and improvements in the process itself.
Improvements,
Yeah,
right.
basically it's the process, most of it. About 95%. Very rarely you find, and of course, people do make mistakes, and even that is prevented through lean healthcare through standard work. Like, for example, we create a standard work, like everything is fixed and set in that, that like as to how they should do their complete process. Whether whoever does the process, whether, because most of these mistakes happen because different people do. In one shift, one person do, another shift, another person can do, and their skills are different, their knowledge is different. So this, through the standard work, what we propose, all these mistakes are eliminated. So what happens is, even if 5 different people do the same process, the results are one and the same.
Same.
There can't be a chance for a mistake through the standard work. This is another benefit for it. And we have another concept called POCAI, that's called mistake proofing. So wherein the mistake itself is proofed, like you can't commit a mistake, you can't do things wrongly. So that kind of a thing is built into the system, into the process itself. Like, for example, simple example for people to understand, like you can't insert an anesthesia inlet plug to an oxygen inlet plug. It's impossible. That's an example for POCAI, and that kind of things we do in processes as well. Yeah.
The theme for this year's Patient Safety Day is Safe Health Workers, Safe Patients.
Yes.
What is your contribution towards the safety of the health workers?
Safety of the health workers. Yeah, health workers are part of the organization, and then if they are not safe, patients are not safe.
Not safe, right? That's
Yeah.
true.
So yes. So the basic problem, the major problems for health workers are the stress, the burnout, particularly in the COVID period. Of course, everybody knows that the burnout is severe,
Right.
and this is resulting in so much of psychological problems for them, and a lot of suicide tendencies, and then depression, insomnia, and all that, so on and so forth. For the healthcare people, particularly during COVID, it's more so even otherwise. Generally, also we find them to be under stress. So, what our lean healthcare or Lean Six Sigma through these methodologies, what we do is we streamline all the activities. We reduce their workload through streamlining and reducing and eliminating wasteful moments. Suppose if you see a nurse in an hospital keeps walking up and down, we don't know why she is walking, but it is not her mistake. It is the process is like that. If you really study and find out how much she walks in a day, it will be surprising. It will be in kilometers, something like 10 to 15 kilometers she walks. That is something, and real burnout happens in such cases. And then added to that, there's a blame. This culture is like that. As I was talking about blame culture and all that. So all these things are avoided by setting the process right first. So once the process is set right, the movements are minimized, the waste is eliminated, the waiting times are eliminated, the workload is reduced, the procedures are clear. So all these things reduce the burnout and then the psychological stress on the healthcare personnel, including physicians. So what happens is this reduction in stress is a great help to keep them safe, one thing. And then it improves the work-life balance. Usually they have work-life balance issues, which also creates problem. So even that is addressed through this thing. So yes, this is one part of the thing. This stress is also because of course, long working hours created by maybe there is a force by the management, and all these things should be addressed at a different level. That I will come to that maybe a little later, just a minute later. So what I'm trying to address is that another thing is the violence. Violence is another, is an issue for the healthcare workers, particularly those who are attending emergencies. We see a lot of reports. People, it's really sad, to see such incidents. It's mainly because this is again, when we look at it, as I told you, this is again a systemic and process mistake. It's not necessarily a physician is not attending to something or something like that. It may be due to, it's a systemic in the sense there may be they're understaffed or the emergencies are not properly scheduled and planned. These are the mistakes of the management which they have to attend to it and then clarify and set them right. So unless these things are done, a physician or an healthcare worker are not directly responsible for any of the mistakes that are committed against an emergency for which they are facing a violence, right?
Right.
Or not otherwise. So what they should do is they should separate these things, even the procedures, I mean the processes, like many times what happens when a patient is brought to the hospital in an emergency, the communication is not proper to the physician. He is not being informed in time that there could be a delay, or the physician himself is attending to another emergency, and then he is in a OT or he is in a procedure. So all these things need to be studied and then set right as so far as the violence is concerned. But again, I'm trying to say that this is not most cases. Say, for example, 98% of the times, this is not the physician's problem issue, or this is the systemic and the process oriented. These two needs to be corrected for this kind of violence. Of course, as you said rightly, WHO has prescribed this particular thing as the theme topic for this year, I think. So for the patient safety, as well as I think first is the health worker safety. Right. So of course, we need to integrate. These are the, I think, charters put forth by WHO itself, that they have to integrate the health worker safety programs with the patient safety programs, and they have to necessarily introduce this kind of things into the healthcare organization licensing, as well as the accreditation itself, the healthcare. Because when we see the NABH or anything like that, we don't see healthcare worker safety incorporated into that. So we need to incorporate that into that. Yeah, these are the things. Then maybe there should be a national law legislation, the zero tolerance against this healthcare personnel, which is possible only through providing support by the government and national programs and all that. Yes, and maybe there's a need for like in industries, we see there's a safety officer to take care of all the hazards and all that. Here they are exposed to a lot of hazards, like chemical hazards and radiation hazards. All these things need to be audited, and somebody should be there is accountable for this kind of audits and all that. Yeah, all these things should be taken up by the government level as well as the hospital level.
Hospital levels.
Yeah, for these people to take care of their own, safety. Yeah, health worker safety.
Sir, how is patient safety through lean healthcare and Lean Six Sigma healthcare management possible?
Yeah, right. That's a good question. Yeah, whatever we do is patient-centric only. So when we say patient-centric, lean healthcare particularly is patient-centric. So the customer is first. Customer is the king. That's kind of customer. In this case, customer is the patient. So what happens is whatever we do in the lean healthcare is all towards the safety of the patient only, because safety comes first for the patient, and then only comes the cost, and then his comfort, and then his treatment by the hospital people, all those things. The cost aspects and other things. So we do this patients. In fact, we are right now. There is something I think you might have heard, this CAHO, consortium of accredited healthcare organizations. We have an organization like that, which is manned by top class, healthcare thought leaders. And then I'm an examiner in that. And then a lot of hospitals are doing this patient safety improvement projects through Lean and Lean Six Sigma. Lean uses various methodologies. Lean healthcare uses, like you asked, that how you are able to do it. Lean uses various methodologies. Like 5S is one first fundamental methodology we use to prevent errors. Basically, it's a visual management wherein we remove all these doubts, like this LASA, like I was telling you, look-alike, sound-alike, all are clearly segregated. And then we use something called visual management systems, so that everything is visual. You can't make a mistake. And then the lean healthcare particularly uses to analyze the root cause for any problem through Ishikawa diagram, and then we use 5Y analysis. So through these things, we find out the root causes for the problems, and then sort it out, find out the solutions, and the solutions mainly comes through brainstorming and from the people who are doing it, and then the collaboration. So most of the times in Lean, what is not happening right now without Lean is the compartmentalization, the silos. People work in silos. So as long as the people work in silos, we can't guarantee patient safety or the performance, even the performance. That means it is handoffs. Like my job is over. This has gone to the next department. It is their job. So in lean healthcare, this is not the concept. The collaboration is the focus. People work in collaboration, cross-functional teams, so that because any problem or any issue is always related to 2-3 departments, not independently tackled. It's if you try to tackle, you won't be really able to find solution.
Right.
So that's where through lean healthcare, by working through collaboration and cross-functional teams, we solve all these issues in a very amicable way, and so that these barriers are removed, the silos are broken, and then people work that's how we solve these patient safety problems or any other performance problems. And then Lean Six Sigma, of course, it's mainly to improve the quality through avoiding variation and minimizing the defects. It avoids any variation up to the level of 99.99. 999,968 percentage. That's 3.44 defects per million opportunities only you will find if you achieve Six Sigma level through this methodology. DMAIC method is the methodology, and then if you do it through that methodology, we achieve up to that level. But right now, the hospitals, whatever I am, we are also seeing a lot of this patient safety projects being done. We are somewhere around 4 to 5 Sigma maybe, or even less. So we need to reach that level, and it's possible nowadays. This lean healthcare and Lean Six Sigma is still it's an upcoming subject in India, whereas it has come in about 15 years back in US and developed countries. They are doing great things over there, and many hospitals are. For example, if you see the Cleveland Clinic, which is recently tagged as the best hospital in the world, uses this to the core. So just one example, I said, like that we have Mayo Clinic, Virginia Mason, Denver Health, Third Care, so many. There are hundreds of hospitals which are using and then seeing the benefits. And then what we feel is in India also we should do this lean healthcare more and more, and then gain the benefits.
Right.
Yeah. And then we use a lot of other things. It's not possible to discuss. We use Kaizen, we use 5S, and then there is standard work, and then mistake proofing also we use, and then we use JIT and Kanban systems to smoothen the flow. All these things play a vital role in the defects as well as the patient safety. And so all these things are tackled through these areas. Through these methodologies of lean healthcare and Lean Six Sigma.
Sounds good. This is the digital age, and healthcare is highly influenced by technology trends. As you know, how do you think this transformation will support patient safety today?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, any digital transformation will automatically support the patient safety as it is. That's because I'll tell you, I'll come to that maybe a little later. But let me start with digital advances that are taking place in the present and how they are affecting the patient safety. Let's come through that route. Like for example, if you see, we see a lot of artificial intelligence coming into the healthcare sector, which was already there, which was already coming up for the last few years maybe. And a lot of digital transformation is happening in the last 5 to 10 years, but after this COVID particularly, this is taking a rapid strides. Artificial intelligence, particularly artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence done rightly, but this should be underlined. It should be done rightly, but otherwise it gives funny things. It'll identify cat as a rat, so that that should not happen in healthcare. But that's being avoided. That has to be avoided, and that will be avoided. So once it is done rightly, it definitely helps the precision diagnosis, which is a starting point for the patient safety. So, for example, if you see most of these radiological images, they are being identified. The defect is where in whichever part of the lung, characteristic defects in the lungs, is being identified just by studying the radiological image through artificial intelligence. And so maybe tomorrow the artificial intelligence, and then we'll take the next step. Right now it's only helping the like a guide in the surgeon's or physician's pocket, artificial. But then tomorrow it may happen. because purely they can't take a decision on the artificial intelligence, but definitely it helps. It helps, and it maybe gives a better way of identifying, and then more accurate way of identifying, thereby providing safety. Then next thing comes, maybe tomorrow it may even operate the like this medication infusion pumps and then IV pumps, on its own without the input of the doctor. That is one thing. And then that, so far as since you have asked particularly about the trends in the technology in IT related to IT, we have trends like wearables, wearables like ECG wearables, and then biosensor wearables. Then we have fitness trackers and so on and so forth. So all these, and then IoTs as well. So all these things, monitor patient's health on continuous basis, and then transfer the, data on online in real time to all the stakeholders. So this will automatically help the patient safety, madam. I mean, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And next level, we have these portable instruments like a biosense, ultrasounds and ultrasound, portable CT scan, things like that, which are used in ICUs right now. And this will help a lot in terms of patient safety, because these are all highly advanced things which are coming up of late, very late. I mean, last two years or so. So they are again fed with artificial intelligence, and they will be able to actually take the pictures like an hospital is around the patient in ICU. He need not be shifted. The touch points will become too less, so that the patient becomes very safe. The delays are avoided, because if he has to be taken to a CT scan, already, so many delays, and then that will add to the infection rate, rate of infection, and then as well as the touch points, as well as it can deteriorate the condition. So all these things are taken care through these portable machines, the delays. And then these machines take the images and then transfer online in real time to the what you call the stakeholders, like the physician, radiologist. They take immediate decisions. All these things will directly improve the the patient safety as it is. So digital transformation, no doubt, is making rapid strides, and new innovations are coming thanks to the COVID in another way, in the sense that there's a blessing in disguise too. Okay, it has created a lot of damage, havoc, but then it is changing the world scenario from the point of view of the technology, as you rightly asked, and then from the point of view of the human behavior. People earlier, now even they're convinced that, yes, I need not go to the hospital. I can get the teleconsultation at home. A lot of things, thinking
in people.
Yeah, madam.
Acceptance has increased.
Yes, acceptance has increased.
Right.
So that will bring in further improvements in the transformation of the digital transformation into the healthcare. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashok, for coming to our show and sharing your insights for our patient safety series at MediCircle. It's an opportunity having you here.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.